We're going to ask this question: how much content do you need? How many touch points do you need to measure? How many attributes do you need on your list? How many drivers do you have to have in your survey to understand what might be causing somebody to behave the way that they are? And so there is a page, actually 2 pages from the diary of a Victorian gentleman. You can't read what he's written, so I'll help you. He's pondering a question, and the question he's asking himself is whether he wants to get married or not. There's a kind of a theme here. I don't know, I'm just... And on the one side, he writes down the reasons to get married. On the other side, he writes down the reasons not to get married. And as you can see, it's not legible. So let me help you out here by rendering it in modern script. So on the side of getting married, he says, I would have children if God was willing. I'd have a constant companion, a friend in my old age, somebody who'd be interested in me. Then he uses the word object. I'm not sure that was a good choice of words. Object. Anyway, so, yeah, object to be beloved and played with, better than a dog anyhow. I don't think you get very far in this day and age. Home and someone to take care of the house, charms of music and female chit-chat. That's what women are good for, music and chit-chat. These things he thinks would be very good for his health, and those are the positives. On the negative side, he wouldn't be able to go wherever he wanted to, and he wouldn't be able to have conversations with clever men at clubs. I like the next piece. He wouldn't have to visit relatives. I can identify with that. The expense and worry of children, and he didn't want to fight with the woman he was going to live with. Loss of time, not being able to read in the evenings because she would want him to talk to her. Why did they want that? Anxiety and responsibility and so on. Less money for books, which is a big issue. And if he had lots of children, he'd actually have to work for a living. This was, anyway, after all of this, he arrives at the conclusion. He must get married, he decides, because there's nothing better than this notion of a nice, soft wife on a sofa. This was Charles Darwin, and I hesitate to tell you that it was Charles Darwin, because people think immediately, what? But actually, he was a man of his age who was very successful, he married his cousin Emma Wedgwood Pottery, very wealthy, he didn't have to work, she had all the money, had lots of children, and he wrote lots of books and did amazing work. My question to you is, if on this really serious question, this is a piece of really good qualitative research, and if we were to then work out what the drivers are, we would discover that there are not that many. In fact, for most people, you only need 2. You need to identify the one thing that is most important, and you need to identify the one thing that you screwed up on last time, because they'll be upset. You only need 2. So here's what we do when we try to figure out what's laundry detergent somebody's going to buy. There are 86 attributes there. 86. I was thinking earlier, I'm going to start a new business, the business of mental institutions for market researchers who've gone mad. And most of us would be in it. We tolerate this sort of stuff. The woman that agreed to have children with me, she doesn't go with a list of 86 attributes. And I know all of you customer experience people are sitting there thinking, I'm fine, I don't do that, but you do. This is what the financial services looks like. It's unbelievable. So help is on the way. Let me show you a simple technique to double the predictive power of your content and cut the cost by 40%. This is what all those attributes look like when you really scrunch them down. If we did a couple of simple things, first of all, established what was relevant to our respondent, instead of forcing them to answer every question we've got, we would be able to cut the number of brands that we had to measure. And if we bothered them to ask them what was important to them and didn't force them to tell us everything, we would discover that we cut pretty close to 70% out, because human beings do not obsess like that. We are much better at making decisions. than that. And so here's how we go. Personally relevant brands leads to a list often of about 3 to 5. Personally relevant attributes and touch points leads to no more than 10 to 15 maximum. You capture everything. You can reduce these monster matrices from multiple items to very few, and you improve the quality of what you're doing. And I want to end this piece by looking at a real-life example that is very recent, where we took, that's the maths, by the way, and the overall increase in the correlation. We took a survey from 50 minutes to 20 minutes. It involved touch points and brand attributes. We improved the correlation by more than 60% with real spend, and we cut the cost of the program, where is it? From $3 million to $1.6 million. Isn't that something that you would appreciate?